Philadelphia is gearing up for one of the most dramatic transformations happening anywhere in America. Not by wiping the slate clean, but by rewriting what already exists. By 2030, the way people move through the city, the way they work, the way they live, and even the way America sees Philadelphia, it'll all be different. So let's talk about the 4 megaprojects that are basically reshaping the blueprint of an American city. And trust me, by the end, you're going to be thinking about Philadelphia in a whole different way. Now, let's start with the biggest land cleanup and transformation on the East Coast right now, the Bellweather District. You might not know it from Google Maps, but one of the most important pieces of land on the entire eastern seaboard used to be an absolute environmental disaster zone. The old Philadelphia Energy Solutions refinery, the one that exploded in 2019, sat on 1,300 acres of contaminated industrial fenced-off land that basically formed a massive void along the Schuylkill River. For decades, it was a textbook example of what happens when heavy industry leaves a city with the mess and no plan. Then, Hilco Redevelopment Partners showed up, and what they're doing? It's not a redevelopment project, it's a resurrection. They call it the Bellweather District, a $4 billion attempt to turn one of America's dirtiest sites into one of its cleanest, most future-focused innovation hubs. The kind of place that takes a city from "we used to make things" to "we're making the things of the next century." 750 acres of modern logistics facilities, 250 acres of life sciences, biomanufacturing, GMP labs, next-gen research space. Think Boston's Innovation District mixed with Amazon-grade logistics dropped right into South Philadelphia. Massive? Absolutely. But what really sells this project is the pacing. As of late 2025, Phase 1 is almost done. Roads, paved, traffic signals, going in along 26th Street. Vertical construction, already happening. 1 million+ square feet of space is already delivered. One building alone is 727,000 square feet, a single structure bigger than some entire suburban shopping malls. And this is still the beginning. When the whole district is built out, about 14 million square feet total, it's projected to bring in up to 19,000 permanent jobs. 19,000? That's not a project. That's an economic engine, one big enough to affect multiple neighborhoods, transit routes, housing markets, and the whole regional job landscape. And because the entire place is being rebuilt from the ground up, literally, they're hitting LEED Silver targets, adding stormwater upgrades, and putting in infrastructure that actually makes South Philly more resilient. The cherry on top? The 34th Street extension. If you've ever looked at a map and wondered why that part of the city feels like someone took scissors to the street grid, well, they kind of did. The refinery cut the grid off for generations. But the Bellweather plan reconnects the whole area back into the city, making new paths to the river and creating corridors that haven't existed in over 100 years. This is what post-carbon cities look like. Not abandoned, not forgotten, but reborn. Now slide just across the river and you hit a completely different kind of transformation, the Schuylkill Yards. Philadelphia has always been an academic and medical powerhouse. Penn, Drexel, CHOP, the entire university city ecosystem. But for decades, a lot of that talent graduated and left. Boston grabbed them, New York grabbed them, San Francisco grabbed them. Philly produced the brains, other cities cashed in. Schuylkill Yards is Philly finally saying, nope, enough, we're keeping our people. This is a $3.5 billion multi-phase, multi-decade district collaboration between Brandywine Realty Trust and Drexel University. Imagine University City evolving from a cluster of institutions into a full-blown innovation corridor. High-density labs, offices, retail, public plazas, green spaces, new towers, all wrapped around one of the busiest rail stations in America. And let's talk about that symbol of the district, the 3,151 Market Tower. Opened in March 2025, cost $317 million to build, and it already anchors the whole development. Earlier additions like 3025 JFK and the restored Bulletin Building helped set the stage, but 3,151 Market makes a statement. Philadelphia is competing with Boston's Seaport and San Francisco's Mission Bay. Here's where the strategy gets smart. Instead of sticking to rigid all-lab or all-office models, developers started blending floor plans to react to real-time leasing demand. If tech slows and biotech heats up, shift the ratio. If lab space gets overbuilt and office rebounds, rebalance. Flexibility is the strategy. If Philadelphia used to miss economic waves, Schuylkill Yards is built specifically so the city can ride them. And it's not just about the buildings. Drexel Square, the landscape plaza in front of 30th Street Station, might look simple, but it does something very few projects do well. It adds soul. It gives the district a front porch, a public face, a breathing space that people actually want to use. The retail, cafes, wine shops, food spots makes the area lively right away, instead of waiting for some perfect future moment. Add in transit access that most cities would kill for, university partnerships that make research sticky, and development phases layered so the district grows like a living ecosystem rather than a sterile megablock. And suddenly Philadelphia is not just in the innovation race, it's threatening the podium. Now, while the innovation districts are shaping Philly's economic future, let's shift to a mega project that almost turned into one of the biggest public relations meltdowns in sports history. The Sixers Arena. Remember that whole Sixers downtown arena drama? The battle over Market East? The one that had half the city ready to riot and the other half ready to pack boxes? Well, here's how that story ends. And shockingly, it ends with a win. In January 2025, after months of brutal backlash and community outrage, the Sixers and Comcast Spectacor basically hit the reset button and did something you almost never see in American stadium politics. They listened. They walked away from the downtown plan and announced a joint venture to build 76 Place, a brand new, privately financed arena right in the South Philadelphia sports complex. This is the rare moment when a mega project goes from disaster waiting to happen to everyone exhaled at the same time. Why? Because this site already has the infrastructure, the transit lines, the parking, the highways, the land use. All of it is already built for sports. No displacement, no forcing out businesses, no bulldozing neighborhoods in the name of progress. It's a sensible solution wrapped in a sleek, modern arena shell that will host the NBA, the NHL, and Philadelphia's brand new WNBA franchise launching in 2030. Construction will run parallel to the existing arena, so the teams don't have to relocate temporarily. Naming rights? Already secured. Business confidence? High. Shared suites, consolidated media operations, dual league logistics, all leaner, smarter, and more efficient than what the city has now. Sure, environmental reviews and permits still have to move, but the mood in the city flipped from over our dead bodies to, okay, this makes sense. It's not just a sports project, it's an urban diplomacy victory. Now let's talk about the project that might be the most poetic of the bunch, the I-95 waterfront park. Since the mid-20th century, I-95 has sliced Philadelphia in half. If you're not from here, you might not fully understand how deep that cut goes. It didn't just create a physical barrier, it created a psychological one. Old City on one side, the Delaware River on the other, with a roaring interstate acting like a concrete wall. The neighborhoods and the water were never meant to be separated like that. So what does Philly do? It literally caps the highway with a park. The Penn's Landing Cap, an 11.5-acre green deck built right over the interstate, is one of those rare projects that fixes a decades-old mistake without pretending the highway doesn't exist. Instead, it reclaims the space above it and gives the city back the riverfront it forgot it had. Construction kicked off in earnest by 2025. Foundations and support piers are being built right now. Beams will start going in through 2026. Deck installation will continue into 2027. The South Street pedestrian bridge is getting extended, so people can walk from the city to the river without playing Frogger across Columbus Boulevard. And the park layer on top? Gardens, playgrounds, event spaces, a sloping timber pavilion leading toward the water. Not a gimmick, a civic living room. But here's the thing that people often miss. This isn't just pretty infrastructure, it's economic infrastructure. Once the cap is built, the parcels facing the river finally become viable development sites. Pedestrian safety skyrockets, tourism climbs, Restaurants, residential towers, and retail suddenly have reason to exist in places where no one wanted to invest before. It is a full urban unlock. The funding mix, federal, state, local, private, signals how wide the support is. And the goal remains 2030 for the ribbon cutting. When that happens, Philly literally stitches itself back together. And that brings us to the big picture, because these 4 projects aren't random. They're coordinated pressure valves releasing decades of pent-up potential. The Bellweather District cleans up the past and turns it into a job engine. Schuylkill Yards builds the future and keeps talent local. 76 Place modernizes the sports heartbeat without hurting communities. The Penn's Landing Cap reconnects the city to the riverfront it never should have lost. None of these projects try to make Philadelphia into Boston or New York or DC. They make Philadelphia more like Philadelphia, but version 2.0. A city that respects its history but refuses to get stuck in it. A city that listens to its people and actually changes course when needed. A city that uses infrastructure not as a monument, but as a tool to solve real long-term problems. And that's why 2030 is shaping up to be one of those rare timestamp years, the kind history books circle. If you want more cinematic deep dives, district by district, beam by beam, make sure to like this video and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And drop a comment. Which of these mega projects do you think will have the biggest impact on Philadelphia's future? Because one thing's for sure, the city of grit just turned into the city of momentum.